Hello, welcome to Sound for Your Book Reviews. As usual, I'm Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of Strange Love by Ann Aguirre. This is a sci-fi romance from 2020. It's self-published. I'm cold today, that's why I'm wearing this sweater. It's not because I'm trying to wear pink for romance. Though, I mean, that is something that would track for me. This book, I'm not going to get too deep into the sexual content, but this is a romance. I'm going to talk about something about that, so just FYI, if you're watching this, I guess at work or something. So, I adored this book. I read it so fast. I had to force myself to read it slowly because I would have stayed up till 5 in the morning reading it. But I was like, no, stretch it out. I actually straight up bought this book on Kindle, not on BookBub for once, because it's so hard, I'm not trying to make a pun here, to find monster or alien romance without the tropes that I hate. I'm going to get into this. This book I absolutely loved because those tropes weren't present. But again, I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going to admit something. Because I prefer slow burn love stories with one culminating scene of romantic reciprocation, often when I read romance, I tend to get bored and skim the rest of the book after the couple get together. So I'm not great with those romances that have 5 or 6 sex scenes, and I want one at the end. That's all I want. But this is one of those few books where I didn't actually do that. I was invested enough in their problems instead of just waiting to see, when they get together, that I cared enough to see whether they got a happily ever after, even though I knew I did because it was romance. So that's saying a lot. Anyway, what is this book about? He's awkward, he's adorable, he's alien as hell. Xylar of Kith Balak or whatever is a 4-time loser in the annual choosing, capital C. If he fails to find a nest guardian this time, he'll lose his chance to have a mate for all time. Desperation drives him to try a matching service, but due to a freak solar flare and a severely malfunctioning ship AI, things go way off course. This human being is not the Tyrellian match he was looking for. She's frazzled, she's fierce, she's from St. Louis. Beryl Bowman's mother always said she'd never get married. She should have added a rider about the husband being human. Who would have ever thought that working at the Sunshine Angel Daycare Center would have offered such interstellar prestige? She doesn't know what the hell's going on, but a new life awaits on Barroth Colony where she can have any alien bachelor she wants. They agree to join the choosing together, but love is about to get seriously strange. Yes, if my intro didn't give it away, if that blurb didn't give it away, this is an alien-human romance. If you are not into that, move on. I don't know how you got this far into it. So this is how I like my romance male leads in this genre. It has none of that awful alpha male, you are my mate and I'm possessive to the point of being controlling, borderline abusive, dubious consent, pretty much human appearing nonsense. Look, I totally get it. No one reads romance because that's what they want in real life. It's just something that you enjoy. And I have no problems with anyone reading that alpha male stuff if they like it, if they enjoy it. That's fine. That's your life. Live your life. But I don't want that stuff in my fiction because to me, it makes the male lead extremely unlikable, and I can never understand why the women characters aren't repulsed by them. Again, this is just my thing. I know I'm in the minority here because 99% of especially alien romance books have these tropes. So I'm just explaining here. So if you like those tropes, totally cool, but this book does not have those. So you probably might find it boring or something. But no, I loved this because Xylar is definitely, as I said, none of that. He's an absolute cinnamon roll. He's respectful and he's so cute. Also, he's an alien who's actually alien and not just a blue dude with a few changes. So if you want an alien-human romance without the alpha bullshit, this one is absolutely fantastic for that. Other stuff I really enjoyed. Third person. I don't really like first-person romance novels. Again, I'm in the minority here. In fact, that's one of the things I really value in the Amazon Look Inside sample feature thing, because if I see it's first person, I tend not to go for it. I prefer third person in most of the books I read generally, but for romance, 95% of the time, I won't read a first-person one. So there we go. This is third person. Another thing I enjoyed was the main character. She's not really deep, but she has a distinctive personality and a played as it lies attitude that suits the story. All of her choices make sense for her character. She really is quite just all right, this is what's happening, I'm going for it. And there are people like that, which is great. She's accidentally abducted from Earth with her dog too, but her reasoning for staying, aside from her developing attraction to Xylar, of course, makes sense for her as a character. Because a lot of the times when you get these alien abduction stories, you're like, but why would they stay? Because like they have a life back on Earth. Her life back on Earth freaking sucks. So she's like, I don't know, more better chance here. One of the other things I really loved was the dog. Yes, there's the dog character, and no, the dog does not die. He's so cute. Xylar doesn't realize what his social role is at first, and that is so funny. And then when science allows him to talk, the extent of that talking makes sense and doesn't feel like stupid or too far-fetched. He talks very simply. It's kind of like that movie Up, where the dog kind of can say a few words. So it didn't humanize the dog. It just kind of felt like the dog had a few more ways to interact. It was kind of funny. The plot was great. There was a storyline that worked with the world building and a villain that you hated from first instance, that he was on the page. It also helped that I actually cared about the couple because they were very likable and they were very cute together, and I really hoped for them to have a happy ending. I also really liked Xylar himself. He was so cute. He has no self-esteem at all, so his story arc is building this and realizing he does deserve happiness. He's a great match with Beryl because she had confidence in spades and literally doesn't give a shit about anything. So he reins her in a little bit and she makes him take chances. It's a great relationship because it really shows how they grow when they're together. A lot of the time I find in romance it's just like the couple's kind of similar or that kind of thing, but no, in this one they actually like work very well as a team. I could have used a bit more on the alien culture. Were this a sci-fi first, I would have been like, but what about this? But what about that? But because it's a sci-fi second and a romance first, I got actually more background than I expected. It's way more than just set dressing, as there's enough differences from humans to make them feel wholly alien, but it's kind of easy enough for humans to understand. Like there's an easy translation option, all that stuff, just to make it like kind of like get through that stuff that I generally really love in sci-fi, but in sci-fi romance you kind of don't need. So I thought there was a great balance there. Yes, there are sex scenes with Xylar and Beryl together. Obviously they're interesting, kind of wild. You're kind of like, oh, okay, like it it goes into detail about things that you're curious about, but it doesn't become too scientific. And they're still very romancy and very like sexy. So it's great. It's great. It's kind of what you want in an alien human romance story. So the fact that he doesn't have human anatomy, I find incredibly fascinating from a biology point of view, which is why I think I like alien human romances so much. Everyone's so creative when they write these. There's also the kind of forbidden romance aspect that I really like. One of my favorite parts of these books is the big like, ooh, they're a couple scene, where everyone's like, oh, gasp, oh my god, how did this work? Blah, 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 like I always find those so much fun, and then like having to be like, yeah, we're together. People are like, my Burnt Ship trilogy books, while they are not romance, they have a few romance subplots, of course. And there's an alien human romance, and the reveal was one of my favorite parts to write. I just loved it. I should just write an alien human romance novel. Maybe I will. Anyway, if you're looking for a romance that is full of blue dick aliens and forced marriages, this is 100% not that, thankfully. And I thoroughly enjoyed this. My little guilty pleasure reads are these romances. I'll probably read another one in December, as there was a Halloween deal on Monster Romance, so I snagged a couple that look similar to this. And this is kind of part of a trilogy, but not in that it's the same characters. There's a character from this book, one that I loved, and I thought that he needed more time on the page, who has their own book and their own kind of romance. So I'm definitely going to check that one out. It sounds really fun. So please let me know in the comments if you have recommendations for any alien, human, or monster romance books that don't have the alpha male trope or the possessiveness trope. I've read Ensnared. That one was okay because it had a little bit of that, but it didn't have like a ton of it. I'm okay with that amount, but I really don't like those Ruby Dixon books. So yeah, thanks.